Hi, my name is Jacob Adams. I'm a fitness and leadership coach. I'm also the creator of the concept known as common sense self-mastery. The core concept of common sense self-mastery is that if you want to master and dominate and be the master of yourself, then often we have to take that first step in the direction we know is best, whether it's reading a book, hiring a coach, taking a class, whatever it is. We often know exactly our first step. The question is, will you be resilient, humble, and disciplined enough to take it? Today I want to go into the concept of chakras. I consider myself a bro type person. Some people might consider me a scholar of sorts, but I myself consider myself a brother, a person just like you. And today I wanted to actually get into chakras. Chakras are very ancient centers of energy, and you may have seen them on tests like on Facebook, like what color is your chakra, or there's all types of articles on Facebook. I believe that's where the confusion comes in, or sort of the playfulness of the entire subject. And myself, I think when I first heard the word chakra, I think it sounded so mysterious that, I figured it had to be valid to some degree. You might feel that way right now, where you feel like, well, it's such a weird name, it's got to be valid. And we see these cool, signs, or you go to Pinterest right now, I found a lot of cool photos of cool chakra stuff. And so I think the question is not, is it interesting or is it cool? The question is, how is this applicable to self-mastery? And I believe that understanding chakras and energies at this stage of my life is actually what I'd say is one of the key ideas or key ways to master oneself. Okay. See, I've done like 500 yoga classes myself that I've taught, and another few hundred that I've done, being led by instructors. And, I've read books by Paramahansa Yogananda, who is my guru, and, just tests on Facebook, pictures. There's things like, they call them the meridians and all types of things. And so today I wanted to take a moment and explain to you in a very basic way what exactly they are and how they apply to self-mastery and what it could do for you as a person when you start engaging, connecting with your own chakras. Okay, well, I said I've done a lot of yoga classes, etc., etc. I picked up the Bhagavad Gita translation, or the one that kind of helps analyze it, back in 2008. Now, believe it or not, I did not read it back in 2008. I actually didn't read it until 2012. In this book, it goes into things like, the ego and the battle of the soul, etc., etc. And well, when I first got into that back in 2012, it seemed so distant from where I was. Like, you might hear this conversation or this video, and it may be so distant from who you act like. In other words, at that time, the idea of deconstructing my ego came to my mind after reading the translations of the Bhagavad Gita. I actually told a joke once to a former girlfriend. I said, "You said I had a big ego." She said I had a big ego and stuff. I go, "I suppose you're right, because I believe my ego was so big that I didn't actually know I had one." So we can think, I thought people just said stuff like, "Oh, you have a big ego," because they were sort of trying to manipulate you into guilting you into doing what they wanted. It's taken all my life to understand there is some things that we do purely for like a exaltation and selfish pleasure. It could be, anything that you think is like pretty exalting. Typically anything that makes a person feel like they're better than someone else is an egotistical desire. In other words, anything that you can think within yourself that can make you better than any one person is usually an egotistical desire. And it's that definition is pretty true, like across the board. It doesn't matter if it's Hitler. Like, we would like to think that we're better than Hitler, right? I want to think that, but on some level, he served to show what evil is, right? So he, in a way, did play a role now anytime. I mean, if you want to offend somebody, you can say you're like Hitler, and that person will feel like so offended, right? Because it's like the ultimate insult. And so who would you say if not him? You might say, some other ruler that was. So all I'm trying to get at is, we may have the egotistical desire to think that we're better than anyone. I myself right now, I'm in a room, and in this room there's other people, and I'm not better than any of them. And that's the main thing with removing the ego, is when you can start feeling our harmony and connection to all of existence. This is less ego, you can say more leadership. Okay, this video is my attempt to be a leader, and my execution in that. I had to, if I wasn't making this video, I probably would be wanting to watch TV. It's a Friday night, okay? But my higher self, the higher chakras, where this, like the Bhagavad Gita says that the third eye is where Christ consciousness and self-discipline comes from, okay? So, here I am executing actions and behaviors out of the third eye, because this is a higher level of consciousness, And so what would be the lower level of consciousness? And to be blunt, lower level of consciousness is to, go to Brazzers.com or something like this and check out some porn. That's a lower chakra type manifestation. And what I like about the Bhagavad Gita is it goes into how, you can be influenced by satanic energies like that. And we don't like to consider them satanic because it's sort of modern popular culture to be very accepting to all types of behavior, all types of things. But just like there is an extreme to things where, like, I'm sure Hitler didn't one day just become that level of a monster, right? He had to gradually build himself up, and at some point there had to be a moment where his hatred towards a people had released and manifested to such a high degree that eventually he was consumed, maybe completely, you could say even a pawn of the devil. And again, I think that on some level, I could lose some people already this far in the video. Like, if you've watched this far, I think we're living in a time where it's hard for people to process that. Even though these ideas have been around for a very long time, And what does this have to do with chakras? I'm going into the devil and Satan and the lower chakra. So think of the lower chakras as where the Satan or the energy of negativity likes to sort of get man and manage him, okay? So if you look at, beer or strip clubs or anything that's a vice, typically they look to appeal to man's carnal animal nature. Gluttony, all of the sins that there is, the 7 sins, greed, vengeance, everything like this. It taps into man's animal brain, man's animal nature. That's the lower chakras, okay? Let's pretend this is your spine. We'll say this is your spine. This is your head at the top, right? So typically, if people don't do their best to pray or meditate or develop self-control or self-discipline, that self-mastery, if people don't do their best to develop this muscle, then they are typically left in a state of chaos. Like, think of somebody that you think has no self-discipline or doesn't exercise self-discipline, doesn't exercise self-control, maybe says whatever they want, eats whatever they want, doesn't have enough structure, enough of a plan, enough common sense to manage their behaviors towards a goal, right? Think of someone like that. I don't know who you're thinking about, but I'm willing to bet if they came to mind, they are not someone that you fully admire. You may love them, but you may not fully respect their behavior. Their behavior may bring pain or concern to you, especially if you love them. Or if you don't love them, you may just be grateful that you're not them. If you're not them, be careful, because maybe you might feel you're better than them, and that's egotistic. We'll see how that works. So it's a very complex game here that we're talking about. Now, to keep it simple, I myself started meditating in 2012. And 2014, I said, I'm gonna meditate in 2012. I was getting into the deconstruction of the ego, and I was gonna be master of myself. I was gonna be enlightened. That was my goal back in 2012. I was going through a breakup, and I was tired of the breakups. I was tired. It was like my second significant one. And we got into, again, a battle of the egos. Like, at that time, my girlfriend was in the Navy, and she was upstate, and I was like 2,000 miles away, and I was feeling insecure. There's that insecurity, trust issues, and then an ego. Like also there was not only insecurity and trust issues, but I was seeing in her, my own lack of commitment, my own lack of self-discipline. I was projecting them onto her as if that's what she was about, and I started sort of accusing her of being some big flirt, when in reality it was me. Does that make sense? So, and then we broke up while she was away, and it was pretty intense. So that's when I decided to really take a look at myself and say, if I continue on this pattern of, being insecure or trying to control too much or being egotistical, not even caring how it comes across, I'm going to end up alone. I'm going to sabotage every relationship I'm in. I'm never going to really ride one out for the sake of its purity, because I really felt like my ego has become so big that it doesn't want to see the good in someone, or it doesn't want to give someone a chance or forgive sometimes, even if they did mess up in little ways. Why was I holding on to grudges? And again, this is being very honest to the point so you can see where the chakras come in. You see, they sort of sound like this weird, shitty, I don't know, this weird name. Like, we don't talk like that in America. Oh, how's your chakras? Stuff like that. It's just not done. But as you start to see what I'm trying to say now, like, if we can start owning our behavior and bringing in, harnessing our life force energy and channeling it into the spine and bringing it up into the third eye and manifesting these higher ideals and stuff like this, then we can start acting into a better part of who we really want to be. It's a Friday night tonight. I'm here alone by myself here, and before I got on here, I kind of didn't. I knew I wanted to do this, my higher self, but my body, my physical body, is still trying to get rid of that old me, which would rather be, having fun on a Friday night, being more carnal, trying to, have a sexual intimate encounter with maybe a girlfriend or stuff like that. Does that make sense? That's the kind of the detox of elevating the energy into the higher consciousness, is you can start calming the mind down, the body enough, and just developing inner disciplines of the agenda of the higher self, the higher consciousness, and less ego. And there, my friend, is the thing. So you can meditate in order to do this. I myself do practice lessons by Self-Realization Fellowship Church. and Guru Yogananda is my teacher, and he's passed away, but he left his lessons and teachings. And so it's a very spiritual aspect to it. Now, does that mean that you can meditate and still get the benefits? I wouldn't know. I don't have experience to just meditate without the spiritual aspect of it. Like I pray to God, and meditation is very much an intrinsic part of it, and so are the chakras, and so is the Bhagavad Gita and stuff like this. And furthermore, this is seen as like a scientific understanding in religion, and not like a cult or something like that. While you watching, you might think it is a cult, and that's fine. I can understand how that is a paradigm or a perspective. I'm not trying to debate here. Just being sincere and transparent, so you can gather for yourself what the benefits are of chakras and meditation, understanding them. Okay, so at this stage, at this time, I feel great. Like I could literally sit still for a little bit in a room by myself and just enjoy the energy, that's more centered into the chakras, and accept all of my existence and be more at peace. And then start just really sinking into my skin. These are metaphors, like sinking into your skin, owning yourself, being master of yourself. These are things that once you start feeling, it's a pretty profound experience that you can't buy. Like you can't pay someone $10 to start accepting who you are more and sink into your own skin and embrace all that you are, and just have a certain level of understanding and realization that allows you to have more joy and bliss. Like you can't replicate that. That's a true experience. In the past, chakras were more of an alien thing with YouTube and all the media that's out there and videos like this. Hopefully you can now start piecing together your own understanding, and hopefully this video helps you on your search to elevate the energy into the spine. I myself have been on this quest for about 10 years, and more specifically the last 2 to 3 have been much more focused, and I'm very grateful for that. It takes a while for old habits to die, but with time man can in fact evolve and become better. So I'd love to hear a little bit about you. You can look up Self-Realization Fellowship Church. I'm in no way affiliated with them beyond being a devotee. We don't talk on the phone or anything like that. I meditate in my room. So whether you do or you don't, that's up to you. This is Jacob Adams signing off. As far as when you hear someone like this, or you hear about chakras or meditation, I think our instant reaction may be to like shut someone off or think it's full of shit or whatever. And meditation is one of those things that you're really going to have to run an experiment on and test the science and test the process and discipline yourself enough to actually try. I can't do it for you. Just like anything. I'd love to hear your comments or questions, anything you have to say. This is Jacob Adams signing off. We'll see you on the other side. Bye.